Welcome to the high voltage light electric vehicle channel. This video we're doing out and about, and this is the BikeTrix Ultra, the top of the range bike, the Juggernaut from BikeTrix. And my friend George, he gave me this bike. Well, he hasn't given it me. He's lent me this bike to see if I can figure out the problem with his torque sensor. It was working intermittently and only kicking on when the throttle was working, and he'd had a bit of a crash, got the mechanical stuff fixed, but there seemed to be a problem with the motor. So anyway, he sent it to me, and I've had a quick go with it, and I'm trying to see if I can figure out what the problem is, and I can't actually find a problem at the moment, and all I've done is taken off the plastic cover. So I'm thinking maybe there might have been a pinch wire that happened during the accident. But while I've got it, I thought I'd have a look at the bike and let you guys know what I think, because this is the first time really that I've ridden a pre-made electric bike from a company. And BikeTrix, I'm always getting their adverts in my Facebook feed. They're a pretty big company in Canada. They make a lot of bikes and they have a decent reputation, and George certainly liked his bike. He loves it. He rides it all the time. It's had some serious use and he's really happy with it. So let's have a look at what you can get for $6,000 he paid for this in total, including tax, I think. But yeah, let's check it out, and I'll let you know what I think. If we start off with the motor, it's the Bafang Ultra, which has the torque sensor. And I've not really had much of a play with torque sensors before, but I actually quite enjoy having it because it's a much smoother experience than the on-off that you get with the BBS HD. In terms of frame, it's steel, so it's a heavy bike. It's quite a bit heavier than my Specialized Fat Boy, even when you consider that has like a bigger battery and stuff going on. It looks nice though. Like, the wiring job is extremely clean. Most of the wiring is internal and comes up through this casing as part of the frame. What else? The seat, George has got the Thudbuster style thing, which is reasonably comfortable. Where it's not so comfortable is it has the KKE fork, which it's not particularly great. There's not a lot of travel in it, and it's been pretty battered, I think. It's not the most expensive fork. You can pick one up for like a couple $100, so if you can get one for $200, I don't think BikeTrix are paying very much for the forks there. I love this stand, and it's actually integrated with the frame, and it's really easy to use. You just get there, you kick it down, and it sits on the ground really comfortably. I like the way that it has the integrated mud guards. They're really good. I can see you riding this in mud, in wet, and not having any issues whatsoever. In terms of braking, it has these Tektro quad piston, and they're okay actually. Like they did seem to stop me reasonably effectively, but then the bike doesn't go as rapid as my 72 volt one does. So yeah, they work. They're not the best spec, but they're not the worst either. I mean, they're definitely hydraulic. In terms of rotors, it looks like 180mm front and rear, so I'd like to see something a bit bigger, but again, it seemed to stop the bike reasonably well, and considering it's a heavy bike, that's not too bad at all. Wiring up at the front is really nice and clean. They've done a good job. Wiring down at the bottom, it seems to be kind of very much bundled into the motor casing here and shoved in, and I kind of suspect that is maybe where the issue occurred. Maybe some wire fatigue or something. Maybe something got pulled during the crash, because as soon as I took this cover off, all of the problems seemed to disappear and the torque sensor was working fine. So I don't actually think it is a torque sensor issue at all. I like the racks on the back. I like the way that you can easily put bags and panniers, like George uses this to get to work and get around all over the place, goes on adventures. It's all nicely done. In terms of a rear cassette, it looks like you get 10 gears, which is great. It's a SRAM mechanism, not top of the range by any means, but sorry, 11 speed. It's not top of the range by any means, but it seemed to function fine on the ride that I was on. I like the front chain wheel because you're not going to get your pants trapped in this. I have done that once, and it's not the greatest. Battery, it's a 48 volt, and come around, I think it's 17 amp hour. So it's a 48 volt, yeah, 17.5 amp hour, 840 watt hours. So it's not a huge range battery. I don't think the cells are going to be the greatest. I mean, I was hitting, I think, 30 kph top on the throttle. It'll probably go a bit more on the flat. I was sort of going a bit uphill when I was paying attention. But overall it's a reasonably nice experience riding it. So yeah, I mean, it's $6,000 if you want a bike like this, and it's probably costing BikeTrix about maybe $2,000 for all the components, because you have to bear in mind they're buying everything in bulk. So like the frame's going to be in bulk, the tires are Kenda, but they're branded BikeTrix. So again, it's all bulk stuff, and they have the power of buying in bulk. So componentry wise, they're not spending that much money on it, but you're paying $6,000. But you are essentially getting a fully tricked out bike that has everything you would want. Like, it's, you know, smooth to ride, although it's not the fastest thing in the world. But if you want to go out on trails, if you want to ride it around, like, you could definitely do a lot worse. And by having it all built, you're not messing around with anything. So there's definitely a kind of person that would want this over buying a DIY bike. But if you go DIY, you get to put the full, you know, if your budget is $6,000, you can put every dollar of that into the equipment, because you're getting sweat equity in a sense. You're doing your own work for free, so you're not having to pay for BikeTrix engineers and manufacturers. You're not having to pay for their advertising budget or their showrooms or anything else. So all of your dollar goes into the bike. We seem to be attracting quite a lot of insects here, which is pretty funny. So yeah, that's the BikeTrix Ultra, and you guys can see some ride footage. So there's nothing crazy with this footage, it's just some clips using the pedal assist going up some hills. While we're here, just wanted to say a huge thank you to the channel members that are helping contribute towards making these YouTube videos. It's greatly appreciated, and if you want info on that, it's in the description. So I didn't really get above 30 kilometers an hour, 32 kilometers an hour. I don't think it's speed restricted. It's more or less on par with what the stock BBS HD used to do when I was running that with powers and everything. So it's perfectly in line with what this can do, I think. It's a reasonably heavy bike, but have a listen. So this is with the pedal assist. There we go. That's better.